Fantastic person, for welcoming us to France for an extremely successful G7 summit. I would say one of the most successful. And this meeting could not have come at a better time. On Sunday, we reached an agreement with Iran that achieves everything we set out to accomplish, everything and much more. Ending the current conflict, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and preventing Iran from ever obtaining a nuclear weapon. That's what it was all about. That was about 99%. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. They can't develop it, buy it. They can never have a nuclear weapon. At the same time, with this announcement, or close to it, as people started to think it was going to happen when Iran was making some very positive statements, the stock market has surged to record highs, picking up thousands of points over the last short period of time, thousands of points. And oil is dropping like it has never dropped before, at levels that went in numbers, down $7, down $8. They've never seen anything like that. But if we didn't do this deal, we could have dropped more bombs for another 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 years. You would never have the Hormuz Strait open. You would never have success. Your market would have, instead of going up at levels that nobody's ever seen before, would go down at levels that nobody ever saw before, maybe except for 1929 or whatever. And you know, all the tough guys don't realize that this wasn't a 3-month deal. This was years in the making. You know why? Because I was the one that killed General Soleimani. And if I didn't kill General Soleimani, we probably wouldn't be talking right now about this deal, because he was a mad genius. They never were able to replace him. But a lot of people forget that. The tough guys, the tough guys that would drive the country right down the tubes. The past few days have provided a chance to discuss the details of this historic agreement with many of our closest friends, including the G7 nations and many presidents and prime ministers. Prime Minister Modi was here. We had a long talk. He's a great guy. They are thrilled that we made a deal, every one of them. One nation that came to us and said, please, sir, keep dropping bombs on them. Please keep dropping bombs. The stupid people said that. But I'm thrilled to report, by the way, those last 2 days were brutal. $100 million worth of bombs. And, it is expensive too, by the way, aside from everything else. And they knew I was coming for a third night. We informed them we're coming for a third night. They didn't have their Navy, it's sunk. They didn't have their Air Force, it's gone, not one plane. They didn't have anti-aircraft equipment, so we got free rain. They didn't have their leaders. But they have a new group of leaders that I think is, actually, I think they're smarter. I think they're very smart. I think they're far less radicalized. I think they're really good. I love the country. You talk about regime change, nobody will say that, but yes, look, one set of leaders is all gone. The second set of leaders is all gone. The third set of leaders a little bit gone. For the most part, and frankly, I think that's regime change. I think they're going to behave much differently. I think they see a different way of life that they were never exposed to. So the one thing I didn't want to see is I didn't want to see economic catastrophe. If you kept this going, that could have happened. But all I know is every time we talked about the possibility of peace, the stock market shot up like a rocket ship. It never went down. They didn't like it. The people, the stock market is more brilliant than anybody there is, including the people on the stage, other than me, of course. Let's see. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Is the stock market more brilliant than you?
No, sir.
That's a terrible statement. The stock market is quite brilliant. And every time we said something amazing, like we're going to settle, it would go up. And every time we said something negative, like guess what, we're not going to be able to settle, it would go down very big, Peter, very, very big. tells you something. And you know, I've studied presidents, some good, some bad, some great. Not too many are great, and some really bad. We had one just recently. And the one president I did not want to be was the late, great Herbert Hoover. Didn't want that. Who knows what would have happened. But bad things happen. So the past 2 days have provided a chance to discuss the details of the deal with the closest friends and allies, heads of countries. They were all here, a lot of them. Far more than the 7, as you know, a lot of them. And they put out a statement. I think President Macron, who did a great job, by the way, did a really fantastic. Bridget, they did a great job. But they all put out statements. And they love this deal because they want to see it over. And they love the fact that the Hormuz. Don't forget, if we would drop bombs, they went another month, another 2, 3 months, 3 weeks, could be another 3 months, could be whatever. What do you have left? Got maybe nothing. You don't have the Strait of Hormuz, because people that own $billion ships, these ships cost $1 billion. They don't like sailing ships or having them participate when you go up through the strait and the rockets flying over your head. They want to protect their $1 billion investment. You can have oil for many years. These are stupid people. Nobody was tougher than me. Nobody hit Soleimani. You know, when I hit Soleimani, people thought that was the biggest thing to happen in the Middle East for 50 years. That was the biggest event. He was the boss of Iran, and respected, but he was a mad genius. He was a genius, the father of the roadside bomb. When you see young men, in some cases women, mostly men, walking around without legs, without the face that's been blown to smithereens, it's Soleimani, 95%, 96.2 they say or something, 95%. Blew him up. You remember that? I blew him up in the Valley of Death. He got off his plane and we followed him. And in all fairness, because they've been wonderful to me, Israel, they didn't want to do that attack. They were all set the night before the attack. They informed me they didn't want to do it. I had to make a decision. I made the decision to do it. It was a joint venture, as we say in the real estate business. That was a joint venture between Israel and us. We studied it for a month. We knew what plane he was going to be on. Almost a month before. He only traveled on commercial airliners, big ones with lots of people, because he knew we wouldn't shoot him down. He was very smart. But we knew he was going to be on that plane. We followed him. And then Israel informed me that they won't do it. And I had to make a decision. I had some very good generals, and not the ones you see on television, very good. And I want to thank also Pete Hegseth and General Raisin Kane, who's phenomenal. Okay, these guys are phenomenal. They can't be better. But I had some good generals, and I said to them, well, if Israel's not going to do it,